Another W for the Kings. They did exactly what we said they needed to do in the second half, and that's blow this team off the floor without Kyrie Irving and all their other players. And listen, this is what I like to see. Keep the foot to the pedal. 122-98, the final, Ryan. This is exactly what they needed to do. You made a point at halftime. Don't play the starters a lot of minutes. They didn't have to play a lot of minutes. I was only 1 point off my halftime prediction. Did I say 122-98 or 121? I guess I said 121-98. I do get lucky sometimes. What can I tell you?
That's pretty darn good, but unfortunately, you do not qualify for the autograph in the hat, Napes.
Damn.
Yeah, those corporate policies, gotta read the fine print.
That's all right. Again, everyone played. Listen, you can say anything you want about injuries in the NBA. The Kings don't have Sabonis. We know the Mavericks have their whole team out. With Kyrie Irving now, I'm not kidding you. I don't know how many wins they're going to have. They'll be lucky to win 5 games if Irving's out for a significant period of time, and it did not look good.
No, it did not look good at all. If they were to fall out of the playoffs, Grant, they would only be the 3rd team in the history of the NBA to go from the NBA Finals to no playoffs. 1999 Chicago Bulls, 1970 Celtics.
Well, if they were to make the play-in and they have their players back, I would not want to play them in the play-in if they're healthy. But right now, I just looked at their schedule, and again, we don't know how long Kyrie Irving's going to be back. Who knows about Anthony Davis? But Anthony Davis is not going to be very effective without Kyrie Irving on the floor.
Exactly right. You run the offense through him, but who are you running off of him? That's going to be the big problem. But to your point about the Kings, first time this season, they're 4 games over 500. You've guaranteed a 3-1 road trip. You catch Denver, first game back from an East Coast road trip. So lining up, we said 5-2. 5-2 out of the break for this team to make the play-in, and it looks like they're going to be right there in that neighborhood.
They're going to be right. They're going to be right there. Now, let's also understand, and we keep on talking about this, that the schedule coming up for Sacramento is daunting. Okay, and this season, I think we can admit, has been a roller coaster. There have been really good points. There have been very bad parts. The Kings at times have looked like, they're putting it together, and then they go on a prolonged losing streak, correct? Yeah. So that concerns me a little bit. They got one more road game coming up, all right? Then they have a game coming home against the Spurs, right? The game against the Clippers right now, after the Spurs game, as you look at the schedule, appears to be huge, does it not? I mean, that looks like that is going to be one hell of a big game. Then after that, you got the Knicks, who right now are healthy. You have the Warriors, who are red freaking hot. The Suns are done. Then the Grizzlies, who are struggling right now. They just lost to the Atlanta Hawks. They got outscored 18-6 in the final couple of minutes. Then you have arguably the best team in the league, the Cavs, the Bulls, the Bucks, the Celtics, the Thunder, the red-hot, sizzling Trailblazers before you hit the road at Orlando, at Indiana, at Washington, at the Hornets, at the Cavs, at the Pistons. And right now, there aren't a lot of teams in the league playing better than the Detroit Pistons. Hornets and Wizards need to be automatic W's. Magic right now are back to the injury problems. So, but that stretch I just told you, beginning with the Nuggets coming up on Wednesday, oh boy, fasten your seatbelts.
Yep, put your big boy pants on. That's for sure. They're much better positioned with JV as a backup center now than they would have been with Alex Len and the roster last year per se. But, it's one of those stretches, Grant, that I wonder how much having Domantas Sabonis actually matters to that stretch. And I say it in a polite manner to this team. That is a difficult stretch no matter who you have on the floor, which makes this entire situation around his hamstring, to me, so much more interesting because you want him right come the play-in.
You have to have him right. The grade 1 is not bad, you can come back in a couple of days from that, but he'll be reevaluated in a week. But you don't know what is going to happen after that. But having Valanciunas has been huge. Now let's see what happens though against this competition. I mean, again, I'm doing this now. You don't even have to put the schedule back up, but
Yeah.
you should beat the Spurs at home. You should beat the Bulls at home. All right, those are the games you should win. All the other home game, and you should beat Phoenix. Those are the games that you absolutely should win. All the other games, you're going to have to play very well to win those games.
I watched Phoenix play last night. So disinterested. It is a dumpster fire there.
They're done. They're over. They're done. They're a mess.
They can play a minute and 30 of good basketball, 6 minutes bad basketball, a minute of good basketball. It's so weird. Devin Booker looks like he wants to be somewhere else.
Yep.
So to me, and Phoenix played spoiler a couple of times for the Kings last year. They are the reason the Kings are in the play-in besides those two Mavericks games. So you have got to be ready for that one. You cannot allow.
Absolutely. But, you like where the Kings are right now. And, boy, when you look at this situation in the West right now with the Mavericks, that changes everything, does it not? Because, again, I don't think Kyrie Irving's coming back anytime soon based on what I just saw. I'm not a doctor. You're not a doctor. But, I mean, I'm looking at the standings right now, and I'm looking at the Mavericks, okay? And I'm looking at their roster. And I don't know if they would beat the Charlotte Hornets right now. And I'm not exaggerating. I don't know if they would beat Charlotte or Washington right now. And I really mean that. They're a mess. They're a mess. They're 32-30 right now. They're 10th in the West, 3 games up on a loss column on Phoenix and 4 up on the Portland Trailblazers, who, again, Portland to me is an interesting team for the future. Maybe not this year, but for the future, they're one of those teams that you're going to have to keep your eye on.
Right.
But I really, the Mavericks got real problems right now, real issues.
It's Klay Thompson, but it ain't that Klay Thompson. He's not going to be able to lead this team, and just their lack of size, Grant, with the injuries as well. I mean,
they don't have, they can't play. They can't do anything, Ryno. You're right.
They had another guy go down with a sprained ankle in the second half. I mean, can you remember a fall from grace like this in your time in the league?
Not quite like this. Not quite like this. I don't recall. Again, we're talking about a team last year that was in the NBA Finals.
Right.
Luka Mania, right? With Kyrie. Finally, wow, they're going to do it. They made a big deal at the trade deadline, which really propelled them.
A couple of them.
Now they're a team. They're a team of. They're like a MASH unit right now.
Yep.
And they don't have Luka Doncic, who just turned 25. And you traded him for Anthony freaking Davis. Like, I still listen. I understand you might have some concerns, which I've heard about even when he was in Europe, about his off the court lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that before he came into the NBA. I've been aware of that for 6 years now. But he was in the NBA Finals last year and was the reason why they were in the NBA Finals. Correct?
Correct. Well, Nico Harris, too. You talking about the moves that he made. It was the margins in the West last year that made the difference in the year before with the Lakers, them getting to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
But incredible stuff. Let's bring all of you in on the conversation. Michael Guerrero kicking us off on a Monday.
It's great. Sorry, excuse me. How are you guys doing so far?
What's up, Michael?
How are you doing, Grant?
Okay, bud.
It's a good win. We did what we're supposed to do against the Mavericks. It looks like we found a way to match up well. Rockets game, I saw that game. We really, I think.
Well, listen, Dallas right now, I don't know if they could beat any team in the league with the lineup they put out to the floor in the second half, and the Kings did exactly what they were supposed to do. Not mess around, bury them.
Yeah. We have a game against the Clippers. We have to win that game. We have 2 games, right, against Clippers. I saw the schedule,
don't
right?
Don't worry about the Clippers right now. Worry about the Nuggets.
Oh, yeah, that's
and I
right.
really mean that. You're now at this point of the year where if you have a bad loss, and losing to the Nuggets would not be a bad loss, but if, let's say, you come home and lose to the Spurs, that's a bad loss. if you lose to the Bulls, that's a bad loss, even though the Bulls are not chopped liver.
Mm.
Excuse me.
You okay?
This is the time of the year where you don't look ahead. You worry about the next team. You don't worry about the Clippers right now. Don't worry about them right now. Worry about them when you play them.
Okay. So
Because anything could happen in a game. Look at Dallas tonight. What if Malik doesn't come back from whatever that tweak was? We're having a different conversation tonight on this show.
yeah, last year he was injured, and it affected us affected the Kings big time.
Michael, appreciate you leading us off, man. Thank you.
No problem, Grant. You take care.
Hey, I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant, Ryan's favorite restaurant in Sacktown, Bennett's Prime Seafood and Steaks at Bennett's. It is absolutely awesome, whether you're at Sacramento, Roseville, or the West Side Grill in Rockland. Again, Prime Seafood and Steaks, you go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com to make a reservation. And don't forget about their weekend brunch, their happy hours daily, their sips and tastes 2 to 6. You will absolutely love it. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, Bennett'sRestaurants.com, Sacramento, Roseville, and the West Side Grill in Rockland. Bennett's Prime Seafood and Steaks, leading us off here on a big W on the road for the Kings, taking advantage of a depleted Mavericks team and blowing them off the court.
I could go for New York and a beam celebration right now. That's for sure. You know, one thing, and we're going to go back to the phones, that I think is going to be really interesting to watch here in this next week or however long it's going to be that Sabonis is out, the reevaluation in a week, is how this Kings team looks with a traditional center. Because there are some significant changes to some of the style of plays and the plays that they are running with Valanciunas, especially in transition. And I'm not sure that some of them aren't for the good, or at least haven't worked out well so far. So something to keep your eye on, Grant.
You know, you see things over a course of a year and you see what we call the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
And you see what fits and what doesn't fit. And sometimes you don't know until you're forced to learn because of an injury. Sometimes you learn more about your team when you have certain pieces that are not playing. Right? It doesn't mean that Sabonis is not a tremendous player. He is. But sometimes the pieces fit better, different combinations. We talk about that throughout the course of a year, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to go really quick to the whiteboard. This is out of a fast break, everybody. It looks like they're set in the half court. They were breaking, but this was a common theme that you saw all tonight, and it was Valanciunas getting position, getting his man pinned down low, which either opened him up for just a quick little lob down there, or he was screening these guys off. And Malik, in this case, came through for a wide open layup after he got past his defender. And those are the things that you don't normally see with Sabonis because he doesn't have the size of Valanciunas. So it's just very interesting to compare and contrast.
The Kings are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing right now. Beating teams they're supposed to beat because of circumstance. And now we're going to find out in the next 2 weeks, we're going to know exactly where the Kings are as a stack up against the other 30 teams in the league. There won't be any well, we're not sure. Okay. These next 2 weeks, starting the next game on Wednesday against Denver, the next 2 weeks to 3 weeks, we're going to know. When the calendar turns to April 1, we'll know. All right, there won't be any we're not really sure. No, you're going to know. You'll know before then. You'll know in these next couple of weeks because you are playing the big boys coming in one right after another.
Yeah, and you can't exactly exhale after that homestand because then you hit the road to the East Coast pretty much to end the season. And then you come home for 3 at home. I believe it is the Clippers, Phoenix, and I want to say Portland. I don't remember the third one.
Well, whatever it is, the Kings have to survive. I'm going to use the term survive. They got to survive this gauntlet of teams coming up at home in the middle of March.
Yes, indeed, they do. Excuse me. It is Denver, the Clippers, and Phoenix to end the season in Sacktown. And Grant, get your thinking hat on because here comes Rabanese. What's up, man? Good to see you.
Man, good to be seen, man. Great win. A little bit better than yesterday because we did what we were supposed to do. Put your foot on their necks. Correct, Grant?
Yep.
Like exactly what
Yeah.
you said, right?
At halftime, that's what we said. Yeah, and they did it. Absolutely, 100%.
Now, I'm only mad that Sabonis is hurt because the next game against Denver would have been a great matchup. I think Doug would have thrown JV and Sabonis out there because he knows that that's a good matchup to go against Denver's to have size, right? We've seen that in the playoffs with other
Yep.
teams. They go with size, and I think Sabonis and JV would have did that. To follow up with for next week, well, not next week. I'm sorry, next game. My daughter's crying in the back. I don't want to rush in there. Um, just to follow up from this game, what I did like is the size from JV. But to ask you one thing that I honestly been thinking about, how many players do you need other than three cohesive players? Because by us being Chicago 2.0, it's fine that Sabonis fell off in a sense because we have three players that are familiar with each other on the floor at all times now. More familiar with Sabonis than any other player on that floor. DeMar, JV, and LaVine have more games played together than anybody on that floor. How valuable is having that, right? Because it's all about familiarity. Same thing we was worried about, right? DeMar DeRozan, LaVine, how they going to fit with Sabonis? Take Sabonis out now, put JV in. How do you guys feel about that? Like we could go somewhere with this, but that's all I wanted to say. I wish we just had a full roster for next week. But I lost my thought
Yep.
because my daughter was crying. So appreciate you guys.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate you.
it. Ryan, go ahead. Tackle that question. Thank you, buddy.
I feel like you could play the two of them together. I think the Kings' best lineup is having the two of them together. Grant, how about you?
Well, you've said that from day one, and I don't disagree with you. I think you're spot on. Yes, I think that would be your best lineup.
It's what happens in the playoffs. That's the knock on the Lakers right now. What are they going to do down low to combat size? Minnesota, we've seen it work there as well. Tay, you are up.
Good evening, gentlemen. Great win. We swept the two Texas teams this season, Houston and Dallas. So, good vibes so far. So, two things. I think the first thing, Grant, I really appreciated your rant on Anthony Edwards last podcast.
Thank you.
I think you were spot on. I was actually watching the Timberwolves and Suns game last night, and I think Edwards went to shoot the free throw like with 2 minutes left, and they were up by 16, and he started dancing after making the free throws, taunting the crowd. And then Bradley Beal, I think, did a flagrant foul on them on the next play to send them a message, and he started dancing again and taunting the crowd. And I think you were spot on. I think
I don't think Tay, I don't think the flagrant was sending a message. I think Beal realized immediately what he did because he helped him up and everything was good. Because that would have been a fight. That would have been a double ejection. You don't do that to somebody that's in the air and at risk.
Yeah. But I thought Grant's rant was right on Edwards.
Thank you.
Yeah, back to King's topic. So I want to talk about Markelle Fultz. So he played 16 minutes tonight, and Ryno predicted that he would play a good amount of minutes, which he did. And I think in the second quarter, he was playing with LaVine for a good amount of time. And then in the third quarter, he was playing with Monk for a good amount of time as his backcourt mates. And I noticed that when Fultz is out there with other guards, he doesn't really look to set up other players. He tends to play more off the ball. And LaVine and Monk did more of the point guard handling duties. And Fultz didn't really look like he was looking to set up players. I thought he was looking to more to score. More often than not, when Fultz tries to pass, I think, it's awkward, it's a little bit clunky. And I'm just looking at his stats. He's averaging 4.5 points and 0.8 assists amongst the 5 games that he played. So I'm starting to get concerned come, next week in April, if we're going to have a legitimate point guard off the bench.
I'm not concerned. I'll tell you, I disagree with you. I'm not concerned because I didn't expect anything from Markelle Fultz when they signed him. There's a reason why he was available, and there's a reason why Doug Christie is hardly playing him. I don't consider tonight's minutes that doesn't mean anything to me. In the important games leading up to this, Markelle Fultz played 4 minutes. And that tells me that Doug doesn't have confidence in him, doesn't see him being really a fit right now. And quite frankly, I'm not so sure that's going to change. I know Ryan disagrees with me, and Jerry disagrees with me, but I don't expect anything from Markelle Fultz. I just don't.
Yeah, I think tonight's performance on him being, really passive, to a certain extent, really kind of lowered my expectations for him as well. So I think the point guard deficiency is still apparent with this team. So I think that's that.
I
Thank
think
you.
thanks, Tay. I think if we're looking at Markelle Fultz and there's anything to be judging, you should be looking at the defensive end of the floor. That's where he's going to be far more important to this basketball team as we go up against the difficult schedule that we've talked about.
And maybe, but his defense is only going to be a factor if he's on the floor. And right now, I'm not seeing the minute, and I don't go by tonight. I just maybe that will change, but based on what I've seen, I just don't think he's going to be playing a lot. Ryno, if you don't mind, I'm going to do my rant with Grant right now. Brought to you by EDH Motors Automotive Reimagined. David and Adam, just two guys trying to do something different and better. They're looking to sell your vehicle. If you have a vehicle that you want to sell, give David or Adam a phone call. You got the number on your screen and their email. They are awesome. Again, they have over decades of experience in the automotive industry. And if you are looking to purchase a vehicle, go to their website, edhmotors.com. And if you don't find what you're looking for, don't worry about it. David and Adam will get it for you. That's what they do at EDH Motors. So get in touch with them. This is a long overdue new concept. You got the information right there, the number, the email, or go to edhmotors.com. Again, EDH Motors, automotive reimagined, and always fun to do a rant with Grant. No matter how bad you think things are with your sports team, be grateful that you're not a fan of the Dallas Mavericks, who took a iconic generational talent in Luka Doncic, who just a couple of days ago turned 26 years of age, okay? A guy who really is just now entering his prime, and you shipped him away for Anthony freaking Davis, who gets hurt in his first game. The Mavericks right now are going towards the basement. They're heading south. They're not heading north. Yes, injuries have a lot to do with it, but you knew Anthony Davis had an injury history before you made the deal. Kyrie Irving went down tonight. It didn't look good. You have just about everyone else that's worth anything on that team injured. But could you imagine being a Mavericks season ticket holder? The place is filled to the joint every single night. Now you don't have Luka, right? You have a team that doesn't give you any hope. Your window, because of this trade, is now maybe 2 years, maybe, because that's all Anthony Davis will probably be able to give you at a high level. Kyrie gets hurt all the time. Could you imagine, though, seriously, being a season ticket holder and going to watch Luka play on a nightly basis, except for when he's hurt, which is not very often, by the way, to watching now this team? This team was in the NBA Finals last June. Here we are in March, and they are a hot mess. You got fans protesting outside the arena. You got fans protesting inside the arena. Their general manager has 24-hour security now. Think about that, because of death threats. This is a big-time hot mess in Big D. Mess with a capital M. So if you think things are going south with your team, if you think that your team's got problems, look at the Dallas Mavericks. And that's my rant for tonight.
That's terrible.
What a mess. Woo! Microphone, buddy.
My bad. I said the Charles was for the Dallas and the woo was for you and your good rant. For as bad as the situation is in Dallas, I think we should acknowledge this. I have never been more happy to be wrong about the Kings signing Scal to a 10-day contract. He got in the game tonight, Grant. First NBA action since 2019, and he so deserved that moment
I love
tonight, in
Scal.
my opinion. And
I
I
love
know
Scal.
you've got a lot of nice things to say about him as well.
He's one of my favorite guys I've ever met in 32 years of covering the NBA. Love the man. So happy for him. He's respectful. He's a good person. He's got a good work ethic. You like good things to happen to good people, and I'm very happy for him. Even if it's only for 10 days, I'm happy for him.
It's, to me, a recognition of what he's done in Stockton. And by the way, if you don't pay attention to Stockton, they are one of the better ran and better G League teams in the league, which is a cool thing. Yeah, just a great guy. I have to razz him, though, when I see him because of his Arizona gym membership that runs about $10,000 a month. But
next time you do see him, please give him my best, okay?
Absolutely, we'll do
I love
that.
the man.
Indeed,
love him.
Great
Just
guy.
a great guy.
Yep. Louis, another good guy. How you doing tonight, Louis?
Hey, not too bad, man. How you guys doing?
Good, Louis.
Hey, one thing I enjoy from a fan's perspective about tonight, the way the Kings played, is their sense of urgency. You know, I was talking to my guy Fuji, who calls in as well. I talked to him around the third quarter today, and we both agreed that they just seem like they really played with a purpose tonight. Now, obviously, you know, we're supposed to get the win against the Mavericks, but it does feel like every game does kind of have like a must-win feel to it. But I wanted to point out a couple highlights to you guys. 12 from free throw, only 7 turnovers, and two of them occurred within like the last 3 minutes of the game, so really 5, you know, throughout crunch time. And then 34 team assists. So I thought like the team really played together as a team, but concerns that I had that I wanted to ask you guys about was the Mavericks don't really have much of a big guy, and it seemed like we struggled to defend the pick and roll, especially on the lobs. What kind of adjustments do you think that the teams can make in order to kind of be better defensively down in the post?
Put your hands up defensively as a perimeter defender. Make that pass hard. I think perimeter defense has been a problem for the Kings for a really long time, Grant.
Yeah, for a couple of years. Yeah. I mean, you know, I hate to say it, but basics go a long way sometimes in playing better defense, right?
Yep, 100%. In fact, I had this, Louis, all drawn up. This was in the third quarter, and granted, the Mavericks did not have a good squad out there, but one of these guys, Keegan Murray, that has been coming to life and is your best defender, that is him making Klay Thompson pick up the ball in one of those spots that you are not supposed to pick the ball up. It was great perimeter defense. See it here. Klay had nowhere else to go. What happens? Keon slices over for the steal, and you are off to the races, Louis.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Hey, thank you. And we appreciate all the phone calls, all the chatter here on the chat line. Love it as the Kings get another win, 4 games over 500. And next up, the Denver Nuggets at the Mile High City before they come home to take on De'Aaron Fox and the Spurs.
Let's bring on Louis' buddy, Fuji. What's
up,
Fuji?
Louis beat me to it tonight, huh?
There you go.
Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah,
hey
man.
There.
Hey, obviously happy with the W. Seeing Kyrie go down, I mean, it's always tough to see, but, you know, we were supposed to come out with a win, so I'm glad we didn't take the foot off the gas. A couple things I noticed tonight. We did the little things a lot better, I think, than we've been typically seeing them. Urgency, getting physical. I love Jake LaRavia crashing the boards. He had a couple moments where he was getting a hand on the ball, swatting it out, just getting there, just showing some energy. Stretch coming up is really what the big topic of it tonight is. And the one thing that keeps popping in my head is just rising to the occasion, right? The quote by Jamal Williams, if you're going to piss like a puppy, then stay on the porch and let the big dogs eat. And it's time to see who the big dogs are. I think Keegan Murray has been becoming a big dog in front of our eyes lately. Seeing his aggression, seeing how he's taking the ball, collecting the rebound, taking the ball down the court, getting big, getting physical. Love to see that. And on top of that, we gotta lean on the big guys, big dogs. We got a JV balling out, DeMar DeRozan, LaVine just being consistent, just being killers. And it's going to be fun to see how we go into this Denver Nuggets game. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be very interesting. And then the home games coming up. We keep on talking about the schedule. The Memphis Grizzlies right now are struggling since the All-Star break. It's very interesting. They're not playing well. So we'll see them in a couple of nights. It will be good to look at them firsthand, but they're really not playing well after a brilliant first half. They're really falling off the pace. Houston has had major issues the last 3 weeks. I don't know what's happened to them, but they look like a completely different team as they lost again tonight. So things are changing right now in the West.
Well, Ja Morant hasn't played a full season in a while, so you got that, and Jalen Wells has killed the Kings both times that we've seen them. So he's hitting a few struggles here and there. But
what about this question here? Is there a concern with Zach and Debo relying on low percentage shots? That's a big part of the game. If those shots don't fall, this offense is going to suffer. Yeah, but throughout their career, those shots have fallen. That's how they play. So I don't know why all of a sudden they're not going to fall. LaVine already went through his rut with the Kings. Now he's back on track. DeRozan's been very consistent all year. Yeah, he's going to have a bad game now and then, but I'm not really worried about that. What about you, Ryno?
Debo, no, but I think Brian brings up a decent point. There were a few times tonight that LaVine passed up an easy shot for a harder shot, like where he had a perfect 15-footer, but then he wanted to get into a step back. And Grant, certain guys like certain spots. Maybe that's his preferred move, and it's a higher percentage for him, but it does look weird sometimes when that happens.
Thank you for your super chat. We greatly appreciate that. And again, we appreciate everyone that wants to get on and give us a call.
Absolutely. Alex, you're up next.
Great win by the Kings tonight.
Hey, stop. Who else do we have?
We are moving on to Ryan from good name, by the way. Ryan from Rosemont.
Roseville, Ryno. Roseville.
Oh, I only see the O-R-E. Can you turn your mic down? Please.
And turn your camera so we can.
Can you guys see me? Is that better?
Yep. There you go. Roseville, not Rosemont.
Yeah. What's up, fellas?
I'm trying to see you. I'm trying to look at you.
Can you see
Ryan,
me?
let's get back to him later. Okay. Ryan, you're going to have to fix your camera and you're going to have to mute your mic when you come on with us or figure that out. Okay, buddy? Thanks, though. And we'll try to get back to you in a couple of minutes.
Yep. And Roseville noted, Ryan. Yep. Just turn your mic or turn your audio down on us.
Fix your camera.
And fix your camera. Dirk. What's up, Dirk?
Hey, guys. No tech problems here, I hope. But
no, you're all good, buddy.
I was curious how you guys are feeling about just this team now, 2 weeks later, wins aside. How does it look to you? Does it feel like a better team?
It's coming around. And I think, having Jonas Valanciunas has been just a tremendous addition for this team. And I think that's the biggest difference. LaVine's not in a slump anymore. I still see some issues that concern me. And with the schedule coming up, I think the Kings will be more competitive, but can they get W's against the better teams like Denver, like Cleveland, like Boston, like Memphis, like Oklahoma City, right? I need to see it because there are still some issues. And I also don't know how long Sabonis is going to be out, which could also factor into this against a team like the Knicks, who is a matchup nightmare for Sacramento.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, what I'm most impressed with lately, yes, we're playing against bad teams, but the defense looks much improved. I would say even with Zach LaVine on the floor, I think without the Debo minutes, the defense looks really good to me. I'm very impressed with it. I didn't know we had it in us, honestly. And if we had two choices here, if the offense could flow better or the defense would improve moving forward, I would have taken defensive improvement. I think this team is interesting a little bit.
I like the way they play defense against Houston tonight. I don't go by anything that happened tonight, but I do like the way their defense was against Houston. That was definitely a bright spot. I would agree with you there.
See, I kind of go the opposite way. This would have been the game that you kind of let up. You somewhat, kind of dog it, for lack of a better term. And
they didn't have enough NBA players on the floor to score with you.
Yeah, but you also, the Kings kept to their standard. To Dirk's point, their communication has been audible through the broadcast, and that's something that we have not heard. But usually when you hear it, the Kings are playing the defense that's not going to put you in the top 5 in the league, but all we're looking for is like middle of the league, and it can be that, Dirk.
Yeah, it's currently there right now, I guess, like 15th. It should improve after this game, so it's all right there. You know, I was checking out JVC stats against Joker, and he seems to produce a solid game, but Joker usually has a monster game against him too, just like he does against Sabonis.
Well, it's not just Joker. I mean, you got Murray, you got Gordon. I mean, the Denver Nuggets are good, and Michael Malone hates Vivek and the Kings, so you're always going to get Michael Malone's team fired up when they play Sacramento.
We are, but Grant, like last year, the Kings seemingly had their number or were ready for them every 3 of the
they weren't healthy except for one game against the Kings. They had key players out in every single game, including Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon, until the last game in Denver when the Nuggets blew the Kings off the floor. Don't go by that unless you look at who played and who didn't.
I mean, I watched those games last year. They had.
Well, I'm sorry, when you don't have Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon on the floor, you're not as good.
Well, you know, when Fox took Jamal Murray out of the game in one of these matchups, like he was present, just wasn't having a good game. And Sabonis, some of those games, Joker just wasn't performing well either. That unfortunately, that's not the commonplace here. Plus, they have Russell Westbrook, and he's going to give us problems. But I don't know. Like, I'm not going to be too disappointed. I'll end on this. I'm not going to be super disappointed if they don't look super competitive against Denver.
I think they'll look competitive. I think they will look competitive. I don't know if they're going to win, but I'll tell you this. I will be surprised if they're not competitive. I think they're feeling really good about themselves. I think they have a lot of confidence. I think they'll be competitive. I'm not picking them to win, but I think they'll be competitive. Let me ask you this,
Grant, real quick. So let's say they look good, but they still lose by like 10 points. Are you going to feel good about their chances in that circumstance where they're just outclassed, or do you think this team is capable of being outclassed with their talent level?
You know, if the Kings play well and lose, I'm fine with that. I told you this 2 weeks ago, and now it's changing a little bit because you don't have many games left. But for a period of time with this new group, I've been looking at how they've been playing more than the results. So how they're playing to me was, for me, in how I prioritize in evaluating a team, was more important than whether they were winning or losing. And there were too many games where I didn't like the way they were playing and saw some real deficiencies that made me concerned. I see that improving, which I like, with only 20 plus games left coming down the stretch. And not only 20 plus games left, but against the best teams in the NBA for the most part. You're not going to beat the Clevelands and the Bostons and Memphis and Oklahoma City, right? You're not going to beat those teams without a really consistent 48 minutes. You might play, you know, if you go through a 5-minute lull against Oklahoma City or the Cavaliers or Boston, and I'm very well aware the Kings beat Boston, but the point is, if you go through a 5-minute lull against those teams like Oklahoma City, you're in trouble, man. You're in deep trouble.
And I'll take it back to the Denver game here. If you get JB into foul trouble, good night now. He only had 2 tonight, but it's going to be an uphill battle.
Well, there's no way he could get in foul trouble tonight because the Mavericks don't have anybody playing in the paint that could get you into foul trouble. They didn't have one person that you would have to be concerned about in their lineup tonight.
I mean, it is JB though. He likes his physicality. He's going to get his piece somewhere.
I understand, but there's there's nobody on Dallas that is capable of getting you into foul trouble.
Certainly. I get that. The fact that there wasn't a ton of offensive fouls with the pick and rolls, that's like, you know, those eye tests that you're talking about, Grant. Are guys rubbing shoulders? Are you using your advantages?
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Those things are happening, Dirk.
I'll tell you what else is a good thing. And I'm very happy right now to introduce our newest sponsor. And I talked with Connor from Element Mortgage and got to know Connor, and there's a lot that I want to talk to you about. First of all, he's from Sacramento, all right? Folsom guy, went to college at Cal Poly, and is really, really good at what he does. Over the last 7 years, he's closed over 1,000 loans. That's right. We're talking about a guy that's not super salesy, and he's a common sense guy, which I love about Connor. And he's got a team behind him with over 100 years of experience. That's right. I'm going to put the number up on the screen for you. Give him a call. We're talking about an independent mortgage bank. They can do anything under the sun with lending programs. This is a one-stop shop. And here's something else I love about him. He is a huge Kings fan. All right? And I love that. But more than anything else, he's really good at what he does. He's very experienced. He is with Element Mortgage. You got the number on your screen. Give him a call at 916-505-1006. That's 916-505-1006. And again, his track record speaks for itself. Over 1,000 loans closed in the past 7 years. Big Kings fan, local guy. Yes, Element Mortgage and Connor, give him a call, 916-505-1006. And Ryan, I love when we can have new sponsors such as Connor with Element Mortgage.
Hell
you
yes.
want to sponsor the program, get in touch with me. But I had a great conversation with Connor on the phone. We talked for a long time about his love for the community. Again, growing up in Folsom, going to Cal Poly, his love for the Kings, big time Sacramento Kings fan, but he is really good. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, you're looking to refinance, whatever the case may be, give Connor a call.
Love it. 100 years of experience.
Did I say 100 years, or did I say he's got 1,000 loans that he's closed in 7 years?
I heard 100 years before the
well, you know what, Connor,
1,000
you're now 100 and whatever you are. I just put you into the century mark. Let me rephrase that, Connor. You have closed over 1,000 loans in 7 years.
Boom.
Congratulations, buddy. And I'll tell you right
it.
now, you, my friend, were a pleasure to get to know and meet and talk to. I'm very happy for your success, and I'm happy to have you here on If You Don't Like That. And I love the fact that you're a big-time Kings fan.
Hell yes. Welcome aboard, Connor. Happy to have you here. Looks like Ryan got it figured out. Okay. Coming back to Ryan in Roseville.
You guys got me?
Yes, much better, buddy. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks for giving me a second chance. Two things I wanted to share about the Kings. One is in the next 20 games, I really feel like this Kings team can win any of those games. By the same token, I feel like they could just get blown out in any of those games. It's kind of a weird situation where any game they could just go nuts and win, but then they've just stumbled really hard on some of these games too. What do you guys think that's the result of?
Well, thank you very much for the call, because you got some feedback. So we'll get back to you when I'm done talking. Bottom line is a new group of players that are now finally getting accustomed to one another. I think Jonas Valanciunas being on the floor more has been a big addition. I still think you're going to see some lopsided scores. I think you'll get some games where they're blown out because of the competition and the schedule. But right now, Ryan, we're seeing more consistency.
Yeah, more consistent. I'm going to take you down really quick, Ryan. I'll bring you right back up. More consistency. I also think you're seeing guys getting used to different roles that maybe they were not playing in other cities, like Zach LaVine being asked to handle the ball a little bit more, playing a tiny bit out of position here and there. So, and just the NBA, Grant, the talent's pretty damn good in the NBA in the Western Conference, Ryan.
That's right. Yes.
Makes sense. I'll just ask this question, then I'll bail since I'm giving you feedback. I feel a little bit more concerned about the Kings playing at home these days, which is a weird sensation. You know, like I almost feel like they're better on the road, and I just love to hear you guys weigh in on. We got a couple tough games at home, which I'm more concerned about than them playing away, which is just bizarre for a Kings fan. So thanks for the time, guys.
And thank you, Ryan, for your persistence in trying to come back and join us. We greatly appreciate that. I'm with you. I feel better when the Kings are on the road than they're at home too.
Yeah. Look, here's my take on it. Kings fans, like, to me, the crack that Kings fans love is the grit, the hustle, the defense, the diving on the floor, that's what gets the building to that climax and to its loudest point. Yeah, offense is great. It's cool. And they're going to cheer, but it goes to a different level. Like when we saw the Kings go on the run with Doug when he first took over, when they were turning defense into offense, it's like, okay, that building's rocking. And I think that's what the big difference is for the Kings playing at home.
Well, again, I think in about 2 weeks from right now, give or take a couple of days, there won't be any more questions surrounding where this team is, whether they can do this or whether they can do that. We are going to find out in the next 2 weeks. The schedule will dictate that. There won't be any more like, we're not really sure.
Yeah, there's only tonight was game 60. So
you got 22 games left. And out of the 22 games, I'm doing this off the top of my head. You've got Charlotte and Washington on the road. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to put San Antonio in that group. I'm going to put Chicago in that group, even though Chicago's not chopped liver. And I'm going to put Phoenix in that group. Okay. Am I forgetting anybody? Other than that, there are no like games that you can go, oh, no problem.
Portland,
all the other games, huh?
Portland always gives the Kings a pretty good run.
Very well.
Would you say Indiana, Grant?
No.
I think Indiana's kind of in the middle.
Yeah, but it's on the road. It's at Indiana. I don't think that's a game that you can just automatically assume you're going to win.
Okay, fair enough. Which game scares you the most that could bite the Kings?
Well, Oklahoma City would probably scare me the most, and so would Cleveland. And you have to play Cleveland twice. So those teams right there, of all the games that I'm looking at on the schedule, those to me are the most daunting games.
But
Cleveland
what about
twice. Go ahead.
What about the teams that the Kings should beat? Which ones worry you the most?
Orlando, based on whether they have Banchero or Wagner because of the matchups. That was a real problem. Now with Valanciunas, that may be a little bit different, but that is a team that I expect to beat. But the last time the Kings played Orlando embarrassed them. But that was the Kings just coming out of the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Could be a different story in Orlando. And again, by then, Orlando just lost another key player. We'll see what their lineup looks like when they get to Central Florida.
All right.
And I want to add something else, if you don't mind. Zach,
please
give me a second here. That's not a good time to be going that far on the road with that amount of traveling at this time of the year. It's not a favorable schedule. Zach, go ahead. Ryan,
how you guys doing?
Oh, good. Hey, Zach, Ryan, did you want to comment on that?
I was going to say it's the second year in a row that this has happened where the Kings go east. And last year they were in the 2-minute report 2 times in 6 games on that short East Coast trip. So Zach, go ahead.
Just want to say it was a good win. We are taking advantage of the teams we are supposed to. So I'm happy about that. Jonas has been playing well. I really didn't like to add that much. I thought that his defense has been is been pretty bad this year, but offensively he has done a lot. And we got we got LaRavia, we got Fultz, and we got Valanciunas right at the right time when all these guys are getting hurt. Like Sabonis got hurt, and I mean Valanciunas coming in is just been a great addition to for those 2 second rounders. So I'm liking that we got him now. And he had 15 shots today. You don't expect him to shoot the most shots in the game. Him and DeRozan had 15. So that was interesting to see. This was his second most field goal attempts this year for Valanciunas. So that was he could have had 20 points today, maybe 25. He missed a bunch of easy shots today. So it's cool that he's been playing really well with us, and I can see him even getting better when he's playing with the starters.
So, Zach, you have engineering experience, right? We've talked about this, correct?
Talked about what?
Well, no, you and I have talked about your background in the past, right?
Yes.
So I want to let you know that Ryan, who's a lot more educated than me because of his occupation and everything else he's done, but I'm getting a lot of feedback here that I actually read this correctly. I said his staff, all right? I said that his staff, and this is really key, all right? His team behind him, over 100 years of experience.
Yes.
So I was right, Ryno. You threw me for a loop. I was right. See, his staff has a combined over 100 years of experience.
Okay. I heard the 100 and the experience, and it blew me away.
Because I'm getting a lot of feedback, and I'm like looking at my messages, and I'm like, Ryno, see, I'm introducing my new client. I got it perfect.
Well, Nate, you know us law people, we're more known for speaking rather than listening. So what can I say?
Hey, Ryno, you kill me, man. You absolutely. Hey, I love it. So his team has over 100 years combined experience. That's pretty good.
That is incredible. That's a good team. That's a damn good
Zach.
team.
See, Zach, I just wanted to put that in there, okay? Because I want to let people know I'm getting your messages, and you're right. Thank you. Go ahead.
That's
buddy.
a lot. That's a lot of years. That's good. But yeah, anyway, I just want to give props to Valanciunas and Keegan Murray, who's been playing a lot better. Last month he shot like 41% from three. He's getting better every month. So he's fine. I don't get why he starts off the year every year for like not very good. Not very well, but he's been playing a lot better, and I just like to see Keegan play well. I mean, so the team is way better when he's just shooting very well from three.
Very good. I agree. It's a different team when Keegan's playing well. Speaking of engineering, I heard a rumor that you're engineering a little after party, Zach.
Yes, sir. I'm going to be taking on a little channel here, the NBA Guru Show, at NBA Guru Show, for after your guys' post game lives on Kings game days. Just going to start out, see how it goes. Just talk some Kings, NBA headlines, some hot takes, some predictions, stuff, make it fun. And appreciate you guys' support. And if anyone wants to join, it's at NBA Guru Show. It'll be on at 9:00 tonight.
That's great, man. Good luck with that.
I hope you get a lot of views, because renting that TNT studio is pretty expensive, Zach.
It's a hefty chunk of change.
Yeah, for sure. All right, buddy. Appreciate it. Good stuff from Zach. Yeah, go check out his after show. Zach knows what he's talking about. Yeah, that's
good. You know what? Right after us. I like that a lot. I'll tell you what else I like. Sunrise Landing in Calusa, the newest residential community. And it is from Blazona Development. And all you need to do is go to calusasunrise.com, and you get all the information you need on Sunrise Landing in Calusa. Remember, there's no Mellorews and there's no homeowners when it comes to buying at Sunrise Landing. Again, Sunrise Landing, good proximity to the major arteries like I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20. And it's adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. Ryno, I've never asked you this really before, because you've had double hip replacement surgery. As you look at Sunrise Landing, calusasunrise.com. Can you play golf, buddy?
Oh, yes, I can. Absolutely.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I didn't know with your new hips if like that is... I'm just asking,
Yeah, I tested them out in Wisconsin. We played a course or two out there, and sometimes if I'm not hitting the driver well, I'll just use the hip, Grant, and get a little. Extra
I got to pay, man. That I'm impressed.
Yeah, titanium. Not legal on the PGA Tour, but on the local munis.
Hey, not legal on the PGA Tour, but in the body, it's okay.
In the body, it's okay. Exactly right. Charles, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How you doing, sir?
Good. I'm just wondering why this faggot governor is making us state workers go back to work 4 times a week. It's ridiculous.
There's always an idiot in the crowd somewhere. Always.
Dave, pick us up.
Hey, what's up, guys? Longtime Sacramento Kings fan from Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Enjoying the earlier starts a little bit, especially coming out of the flu.
You are. Yes, you are. Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it. The last caller, no good.
Yeah, don't worry about it. What can we do for you?
Curious for your thoughts. I feel like Malik Monk, definitely the best playmaking guard on this roster. But coming into these big games, coming down the stretch, who do you want to see with the ball in their hands at that crucial moment when you cannot have a turnover, when you have to have a good possession, when you need a good look? Who do you trust the most? And I know there's no, quote unquote, pure point guard on the roster, but both of you gentlemen, if you could tell me what your thoughts are there.
That's a good question. Ryno, what do you think?
I think it's got to be DeMar DeRozan. Not only because of his history of work, his ability to expand his game and show a little bit more from beyond the 3-point line, but also, Grant, the attention that he draws and the ability to open other guys up. How about yourself, partner?
I was going to say DeMar DeRozan too, just on his experience and what he's done, his body of work over his career. He'd be the guy.
I like it. Any consideration for Zach LaVine?
No, not over DeMar DeRozan in that particular situation.
Can I ask this? Does it depend on where you're looking for the shot to come from, whether it be from the mid range, from deep, baseline, etc.?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Ryan's brought this up, and after studying it more, I've been a little disappointed with LaVine's decision making / basketball IQ. It's kind of been lower than I expected. So, but I think it's getting better, and that could be due to the lack of familiarity with the new players when he came here. But I don't know. I just feel more comfortable with DeRozan in that situation personally.
How about you, Dave? Do you have somebody in mind?
I mean, I love Malik. I just wish he would be less risk taking. Like he's got a tremendous amount of flair. His speed with the ball, I think, is underrated. I know Fox got a ton of flowers for, just how quick he was with the ball. I don't think Malik is super far off of that. I think sometimes he just makes rash decisions that have high payoff, but then also at times it just looks ugly. I don't know. I think the question was to you gentlemen, because I'm not sure. When I look at this roster, it's tough to find that spot. Yeah.
Dave, it's a great question. And I want to say thank you very much for joining us, man. Call us again, would you please?
Yeah, I definitely will. Grant, I met you years ago in Philly. I'm still yet to see a Kings game in Sacramento. My kids keep saying, Dad, let's go see the Kings. Let's go see the Kings. And coming into this season in Philly was the second to last, I believe, Fox game. And I had told my kids, I don't want to go. I don't want to see the Kings again until we take the flight to Sacktown.
Well, that's good. So we met at a game in Philly. You came up and saw me at a game.
Yeah. Quite a long time ago, you signed 2 T-shirts, one for each of my boys. We have them in shadow boxes up in the bedrooms and framed. Oh, cool. So much appreciated to you, Grant.
My pleasure. Yeah. My pleasure. Yeah, happy to do that. And thank you very much again for calling the show. And call again, would you please?
Absolutely. Hey guys, keep up the good work. I enjoy the show.
Thanks, Dave. Hey Dave, if you make it out to a game, get in contact with us. Get in contact with me, okay?
For sure, man. It's going to happen sometime in the next year.
All right. Very good. Love it. Good job. How cool. That's crazy to be that big of a Kings fan.
Yep.
Met you, shadow boxes with your autograph up in stairs, and never been to a game in Sacramento.
That is unbelievable.
You've heard so many of those stories, even internationally. You've had incredible.
It leaves you speechless. I don't even know what to say. It's unbelievable.
It speaks to the power of sports. It just connects. GP, welcome in.
GP, you'll wrap us up tonight. You're the last caller. What can we do for you, buddy? GP.
It's his normal pause. He's unmuting. 3, 2, 1. No, he's not there.
All right. Well, GP, we gave you an opportunity. So, Ryno, what's your schedule tomorrow?
2:00 right here, Kings Court, rocking it out. How about you, partner?
I'm going to do a show tomorrow at 7:00 in the evening.
Okay.
So join me right here at 7:00. And I also, once again, I want to say thank you again to Connor.
Yes.
With Element Mortgage for being our new sponsor. If you would like to become a sponsor on the show, drop us an email. All right. We're happy to do that. You can give us gnapier at gmail.com. Let me put that up right here for you. That's my email, gnapier@gmail.com, or you can hit Ryno up right there, Ryno in Sacktown at gmail.com. Either will work if you want to sponsor the show. We'd love to be able to talk to you. Love to have you on board like Connor with Element Mortgage. And you know what I love? I love talking with local folks, people that grew up in the greater Sacramento area that understand the community. And it took me a while when I moved to Sacramento. It took me a while to learn about the community. It's different. And I don't know how to put into words what I mean about different, but it's almost got like a small town feel to it with everything. And like the founding fathers of Sacramento, if I can use that term, and how the community was built, right? And the big names in the community and how they love Sacramento and how everything they do is about for the goodness of the area. And this is one of the reasons why it has always pained me that Greg Lukenbill, who brought the Kings from Kansas City, he is Sacramento through thick and thin. Like if I think of Sacramento, Greg Lukenbill is one of the first people I think of.
Yep.
Because Greg Lukenbill is Sacramento. Then you had Jim Thomas, LA, Maloof's Vegas, right? Vivek Ranadive, Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that the owner of the Sacramento Kings was local. I think this franchise needs that. And I've always longed for an owner to do that and be from Sacramento. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. But I think that's important for this community. And so when I meet someone like Connor, who grew up in Sacramento, he understands the community, understands the environment of the community, understands the pulse of the community. And I think that's important, Ryno. I've always believed that. I'm not from Sacramento, but to this day, and I'm 65 years old, when I meet somebody and they ask me where I'm from, I go, I'm from Sacramento.
Yeah.
I don't say I'm from New York, even though I grew up in New York and I was born in New York. But if I meet a stranger, if we start talking and they go, hey, where are you from? I go, I'm from Sacramento, right?
Yep.
I'm proud to say I'm from Sacramento because I love the people in the community, the bond, you know, what this community did to save the Kings and the local owners that stepped up, right? Like to me, like, man, I don't know how many cities in America that would have happened, but it happened in Sacramento.
Think about the Midtown owners that you're talking about. The 10 of them that came together and raised $1 million.
That's what I'm saying. That's what those are the people I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's incredible. I want to ask you a question because it's something that comes up on the Kings court and it's something that comes up within the fan base. And you're talking about you taking to Sacramento, and I'm going to hand the reins to you and let you end the show here. When did you know that Sacramento took to you?
That's a fabulous question. I moved to Sacramento in July of 1987, and I started doing the Kings in November of 1988. But Walt Gray was, and still to this day, is very close to me, and I love Walt. Walt and I used to go out to dinner 4 or 5 times a week. We used to go eat at Fridays when Walt was on break, in between either the 5 o'clock news and the 11 o'clock news or whenever. Walt back then was the sports anchor, sports director for KCRAs, now with Channel 10, and moved over to news. Walt and me, we would go to dinner a lot, or we'd go and hang out after Walt got off work, or particularly on the weekends when he wasn't working. And for the first year that I was in Sacramento, nobody ever came up to me and said, wow, you're on the news. Everyone used to come up to Walt. And I was like, wow, I'm really on a TV station and nobody watches. I've been on TV for 9 months to a year, and I go out in town and nobody even recognizes me, which told me that, you know, Channel 31, back then, nobody was watching. You know, it had I Love Lucy on during the day, the Three Stooges, right? Rerun movies from 30 years ago. I mean, I can go on and on. The first time that I felt that this was going to work for me was the first week of calling games in 1988. Steve Kennedy from the Sacramento Union and Dan Vieira from the Sacramento Bee were the media critics back then. And you have to remember that when I started doing the games in November of 1988, nobody knew me for all intents and purposes. So who's this new kid, this young 28-year-old who's doing NBA basketball? And Dan Vieira and Steve Kennedy, after they reviewed me in my first week, both gave me very positive reviews. Both gave me credibility and put me on the map. And I was so grateful for their words in print with the Sacramento Bee and Sacramento Union. And that started the process of me making the transition into being part of the Sacramento community. And then obviously it grew from there. And I'm blessed to have the career that I had. But I think that was a real turning point. I think had Dan or Steve critiqued me in a negative way, that would have been hard to overcome, both with my TV station and Joe Axelson and the Sacramento Kings. But to this day, those two stories in the local papers complimenting me and basically talking about what a good job I did was instrumental in starting to gain credibility in Sacramento. And then it wasn't too long after that where I would go out and people would start to know me from my exposure with the Kings. But I would say that was the beginning of it, and the rest is history. I've always felt this. You know, people say, well, you're an East Coast guy. I am an East Coast guy because it's in my blood. I talk like I'm an East Coast guy. In other words, I'm abrasive. I'm in your face. I'm opinionated. I'm not vanilla. You have that's the one thing I don't like about Sacramento. You have too many cupcakes on the air in Sacramento. You have too many cupcakes in the media in Sacramento. Cupcakes. I'm not cupcake. It's not who I am. My style is not for everyone. And I don't ever come on and ask you to like me or not like me. I don't really care whether you like me or you don't like me. What I care about is that you watch me and follow me. That's what's important to me. Yeah, I would love to be loved by everybody. We all would. We're human beings. I'd much rather have someone like me than not like me, but I don't worry about that. You're going to do what you want. I can't control that. As long as you're with me, and as long as you're part of this community, the Sacramento Kings community, right? You're part of the bond. I've been very open about this. I don't root for the Kings anymore like I used to. I don't root for them to win like I used to, but I don't root for them to lose when I'm watching the games. I root for you. I root for you. I want you to be happy because you have suffered too damn long with this franchise. That's why I do these shows. I do these shows because you want the product and because of your passion. I love your freaking passion. Even when we go back at it and we go in each other's face and we disagree, I don't care. Disagree with me. Passion. You fans are passionate, man. I love all of you. And I really mean that. Even the people that don't like me, I freaking love you. You know why? Because you're passionate. Right here, baby. Sacramento proud. Love you. Talk to you tomorrow. Ryno at 2. I'm coming your way at 7. Stay strong. Talk to you. Have a good night, everybody. And let me just end by saying this. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. Oh, boy. Good night.